Ever wonder why some people seem to have money flowing in while you're still struggling to save even $100? What if we told you that the Japanese discovered something centuries ago that takes just 60 seconds a day, but completely transforms how you handle money? Sounds too simple to be real, right? The ancient secret everyone's missing. Look, we get it. You've probably heard 1,000 money tips before. Save more, spend less, invest wisely. Yeah, we know. But here's the thing that nobody really talks about. The Japanese have this whole philosophy about money that's different from what we're used to in the West. While we're out here treating money like it's just numbers in a bank account, they've turned it into something almost spiritual. And the wildest part, it all starts with just 1 minute of your day. We're talking about a habit that's so stupidly simple, you might actually laugh when you hear it. But before you dismiss this as another internet trend, consider this. Japan has one of the highest savings rates in the world. We're talking about a country where the average person saves around 15 to 20% of their income consistently. Compare that to many Western countries, where people are living paycheck to paycheck. And you start to realize these folks might be onto something real. The habit we're going to share with you today isn't about making you rich overnight. Let's be honest, nothing works that way unless you win the lottery. But what it does do is build something way more valuable than quick cash. It builds discipline, real, actual, stick with it when things get tough discipline. And that discipline, that's what turns into real money over time. The 1 minute ritual that changes everything. So what is this magical 1 minute habit? It's called the money acknowledgement practice, and it comes from a blend of traditional Japanese money philosophy and modern behavioral psychology. Every single morning, right after you wake up, or maybe with your morning coffee, you sit down with your wallet or pull up your banking app. Then you do something that might feel weird at first. You acknowledge every single yen or dollar you have. Now hold on. We don't mean just glancing at your balance and moving on. We mean really looking at it. You take out each bill in your wallet, or you look at that number on your screen, and you mentally or even physically bow to it. You thank it for being there. You recognize it as a tool that serves you. In Japan, they have this concept called mottainai, which roughly translates to respecting resources and not being wasteful. This 1 minute practice taps directly into that mindset. When we first heard about this, we thought it sounded a bit out there, like why would anyone bow to their money? But here's where it gets interesting. This simple act does something powerful to your brain. It creates what psychologists call mindful awareness of your finances. Instead of money being this abstract thing that just disappears from your account, it becomes real and tangible in your mind. Think about how most of us treat money. We swipe a card, tap our phone, and boom, money's gone. We don't feel it leaving. We don't process it. It's like ghost money floating around in the digital ether. But when you spend 1 minute every morning physically or mentally connecting with your money, something shifts. You start to feel more connected to it. You become more aware of where it goes. And awareness, my friends, is the first step to discipline. Why 60 seconds actually matters more than you think. Here's something backed by actual research. Studies from behavioral economists have shown that people who regularly check their finances and engage with their money consciously are significantly more likely to save and make better financial decisions. One study from the University of Cambridge found that people who checked their bank balance at least once a week saved about 6% more annually than those who didn't. Now imagine doing it every day, but in a way that's meaningful rather than anxiety-inducing. The Japanese approach takes this even further. It's not just about checking your balance. It's about creating a relationship with money based on respect and intention. When you spend that 1 minute acknowledging your money, you're programming your subconscious mind to value it. You're telling yourself, without even using words, that this resource matters and deserves attention. We live in a world that constantly tries to separate us from our money. Advertisements everywhere, one-click purchases, subscription services that quietly drain your account every month. Everything is designed to make spending effortless and saving hard. This 1 minute habit flips that script. It makes you pause. It creates a mental checkpoint that your brain has to pass through before making financial decisions throughout the day. And get this, it compounds over time. Just like how compound interest grows your savings, this daily practice compounds your discipline. After a week, you've spent 7 minutes total building financial awareness. After a month, you've invested just 30 minutes. But the impact on your financial behavior can be massive because you're training your brain every single day to think differently about money. Now let's talk about why discipline is actually the real treasure here, not just the money itself. We've all heard stories about lottery winners who blow through millions in a few years and end up broke, or athletes who earn enormous salaries but retire with nothing. The reason isn't that they didn't have money, it's that they didn't have financial discipline. And discipline can't be bought, it has to be built, one small action at a time. This 1-minute Japanese habit is essentially a discipline-building exercise disguised as a money practice. When you commit to doing something every single day, no matter how small, you're strengthening what researchers call your self-regulation muscle. It's like going to the gym, but for your willpower and decision-making abilities. The beauty of starting with just 1 minute is that it's so doable. We can all find 60 seconds in our day. You're not committing to some massive overhaul of your life. You're not promising to save half your income or never eat out again. You're just saying you'll spend 1 minute being present with your money. And that tiny commitment is actually the secret weapon because it's sustainable. You can do this when you're busy, when you're tired, when life is chaotic. 1 minute remains possible. But here's what happens after you do this for a few weeks. That discipline starts bleeding into other areas of your financial life. You might find yourself pausing before impulse purchases. You might start naturally looking for better deals. You might begin thinking twice about subscriptions you don't really use, all because you've been training your brain every morning to be more intentional with money.
Real money results from real people. There are actual stories from people who've adopted this practice, and the results are pretty compelling. We came across accounts from Japanese savers who've been doing this their whole lives, and also from Westerners who discovered it recently and decided to give it a shot. One woman from California shared that after 3 months of doing this 1-minute practice, she'd saved an extra $800 without even following a strict budget. She said it just made her naturally more aware of unnecessary spending. Another guy from the UK mentioned that the practice helped him finally tackle his credit card debt, not because the 1 minute magically paid off his balance, but because it kept him focused on his financial reality every single day. He couldn't ignore the debt anymore or pretend it wasn't there. That daily acknowledgement kept him motivated to pay it down aggressively. The Japanese savings rate we mentioned earlier, that 15 to 20% average, doesn't happen by accident. It's built on cultural practices and habits like this one. They teach kids from a young age to respect money, to handle it carefully, to acknowledge its value. And those lessons stick for life. What we're doing with this 1-minute habit is essentially giving ourselves that education we might not have gotten growing up. Making it work in your actual life. So how do you actually implement this without it feeling forced or weird? Start simple. Tomorrow morning, before you check social media or jump into your emails, open your banking app or grab your wallet. Look at what you have. Really look at it. Take a breath. Say thank you, out loud or in your head. Acknowledge that this money is here to serve you and your goals. Think about one thing you want to accomplish financially, whether it's building an emergency fund, taking a vacation, or just not stressing about bills. That's it. 30 to 60 seconds, max. Do it every day. Some people like to keep a small notebook where they jot down their current balance or just write acknowledged with the date. Others prefer to make it a completely mental practice. Find what works for you. The specific method matters way less than the consistency. You might feel silly at first. That's completely normal. We're not used to treating money as something worthy of gratitude or respect. We're taught to chase it, stress about it, or ignore it entirely, but not to honor it. Give yourself permission to try something different. The worst that happens is you spend a minute each morning looking at your finances. The best that happens, you transform your entire relationship with money and build the kind of discipline that actually creates lasting wealth. The real end game here is, at the end of the day, this isn't really about the 1 minute. It's about what that 1 minute represents. It's about choosing to be intentional with your financial life instead of reactive. It's about building a foundation of discipline that supports every money decision you make. The Japanese understood centuries ago that how you treat money in the small moments determines how much of it sticks around in the big picture.
That wisdom is just as relevant now as it was then, maybe even more so in our world of instant everything. So tomorrow morning, give yourself that 1 minute. See what happens when you start treating your money with a little more respect and awareness. You might just be surprised at how much changes.